They did that because they consider the final revelation to have cancelled or abrogated previous revelations. This is one part of the subject of riba, namely borrowing and lending money on interest, dealt with in the Qur'an. And we have explained, and we've done it, I believe, adequately, that this is a method through which the moneylender remains permanently rich and constantly grows richer. And the implication of the rich remaining rich and growing permanently richer is that the poor will be imprisoned in permanent poverty and eventually reach the stage of destitution. We also explained that there is a second strategy at work. Remember this? Ada'afa muda'afa? The second strategy at work is that they lend you money on interest, calculating how much you can repay. So they have to know how much you have. They have to know how much resources you have before they lend you money on interest. Because the reason why you're lending on interest to that man is because you want to trap him. What was the name of the book? Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Who wrote it? John Perkins. So you're not going to get that book and read it, because that is ada'afa muda'afa. But the Qur'an also spoke about something else in the economy of the Prophet Shu'aib alaihi salam, that there was riba in that economy, and Allah destroyed them and gave a command, وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Bakhs is to make little. وَشَرَوْهُ بِثَمَنٍ بَخْسٍ دَرَاهِمَ مَعْدُودَةٍ. Do not diminish. Do not diminish people's wealth, people's property, people's goods. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, if you meet a man coming to the market to sell his watermelons. You got watermelons in Simontown? And you buy his goods from him before he could enter the market. And when he enters the market, he finds out that he could have gotten a better price in the market. That's riba. Because you exploited his ignorance of the market price. To get a profit or a gain greater than that to which you are justly entitled. That's the elegant way of saying it. The Americans say, you ripped him off. This is one of the ways that the bakhs takes place. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not diminish the value of people's labor, property, wealth. Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu came to the Prophet ﷺ and offered him some dates. Since you've been listening to my lectures, you're familiar with this. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Bilal, these are fine quality dates. You should read some of the commentary on this lecture on the internet. We can't understand. Yeah. Read some of it on the internet. sometimes get a chance to get away from my wife and get the computer and take a look at it. She says that's his second wife. These are fine quality dates. Bilal, where did you get them? O Messenger of Allah, I had 2 kilograms, 2 sa'as, so let's use kilograms, of inferior quality dates, and I exchanged them for this 1 kilogram of superior quality dates. If the 2 kilograms of inferior quality dates were worth 25 your money is called? Rands. 25 rands each, okay? So the 2 kilograms will be worth 50 rands? 25 by 2 is 50? Is it? Right, good. So the 1 kilogram of the superior quality dates is worth 50 rands. So in value, the transaction is the same in value. Bilal, this is riba, the essence of riba. You could imagine how Bilal must have been shaking. Bilal, what you should have done was to sell the 2 kilograms of inferior quality dates and take that money and buy the 1 kilogram of superior quality dates. But a direct exchange of dates for dates, which was unequal, was haram, was riba. But Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu exchanged 1 camel for 4 camels. No riba, no haram. So the question that we ask is, why was it riba for the dates and was not riba for the camels? I went into, let me not mention the name, a very famous Darul Uloom in this country. The principal of the Darul Uloom called members of the staff and about 700 students and offered me a chance to address the entire Darul Uloom, which was very fine of him. And when I asked the question, nobody could answer. Nobody could answer. But 100 years ago, a schoolboy, 100 years ago, a schoolboy would have been able to answer that question. Which is one of the signs of the last day that knowledge will disappear. Why was it haram for the dates, but not for the camels? The answer to that question is in another hadith. The Prophet said, alaihi salatu wasalam, when a transaction involves an exchange of gold for gold, when a transaction involves an exchange of gold for gold, silver for silver, wheat for wheat, barley for barley, dates for dates, salt for salt, it must be equal for equal, hand to hand, meaning a credit transaction is prohibited. Prohibited. It must be equal for equal, hand to hand, otherwise it will be riba. I'm seeing some faces looking a little worried now. You have good tea ready for them? It's really not so difficult. What is common to all these 6? What is common to all these six? Answer: they were all used as money in the market in Medina. If gold and silver were in short supply, gold meaning the gold dinar, silver meaning the silver dirham. If gold and silver were in short supply in the market in Medina, they would use dates as money, because dates were in abundant supply in the market in Medina. Number two, in all six of these, the value of the money, as Sheikh Ali Mustafa was mentioning with it this morning, in all six of these, the value of the money is inside the money. Yes. And so we say that the money has intrinsic value. Can you believe this? I think it was about 1995, and I heard with my own ears Dr. Muhammad Mahathir declaring, money has no intrinsic value. I lived long enough to see him eat his words. Money has no intrinsic value, he said. And Prime Minister of the country. Yeah? In all six of these, they were used as money. In all six of these, the value of the money was in the money. In all six of these, the value was created by Allah, ab novo, from nothing. Only He, and no one else but Him. You should tell this to Washington for me, please. Only He and none but Him is Badi'us Samawati wal Ard. Khaliq is He who creates. Fatir is He who creates from point of origin. And Badi' is He who creates from nothing. From nothing. Ab novo, as they say in Latin. So in all six of these, number one, you have money. Number two, you have intrinsic money. You have money whose value was created by Allah. From nothing. That money, that value can fluctuate. Of course it can. Because He can produce, He can send more, or He can withdraw and there will be less. If there is greater supply than demand, then the value will be less. And if there is greater demand than supply, the value will be more. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Messenger of Allah, prices are too high. Impose price control. The Prophet said, no. Now we are accustomed, when he says no, that's it. But this companion of the Prophet ﷺ, a very courageous man, I don't know where he got the courage from. He went back a second time after some time. O Messenger of Allah, price is too high. Impose price control. Prophet said no. And do you know what happened? He went back a third time. So it must have been very high. And again the Prophet said no. Because Islam gives to the world nothing more than this. Nothing more than this. A free and a fair market. Nothing more than this. There is no advantage for the Muslim over the non-Muslim, not in our market. No.